Alright, so I want to talk about Jiu-Jitsu, three aspects of it, how it's the perfect martial art. If you're brand new, I think this is going to be really good for you. And if you already know Jiu-Jitsu, this is just going to be fun hearing more Jiu-Jitsu, if you understand what I mean. So there's three aspects of Jiu-Jitsu that I've noticed, and I don't know, I just want to talk about it. There's no point in this video. You have guard play, you have guard passing, and you also have wrestling. Now, we'll start off with the guard play. I want to say that what makes Jiu-Jitsu unique, well, let's start here. Every single martial art has something that is unique versus other martial arts, and it exploits that. And that is its like specialty, for example. So jiu-jitsu, what makes jiu-jitsu a different martial art from just, let's say, I don't know, like wrestling itself, is the guard. The guard is the one single thing, and I guess some submissions, but the guard sitting on your back, having a whole system of attacks off of your back, is one of the groundbreaking things that jiu-jitsu has. And of course, you know, I was in karate before, and they do teach you how to stand back up, and I'm sure wrestling teaches you how to stand back up, but what if you're trapped on your back and you just can't get back up? So there's like a whole system for that. Now, when I first started jiu-jitsu, I honestly did not understand what the guard was. I was like, what in the world is the guard? It's basically your legs. That's it. The guard is your legs. It's guard passing literally translates as leg passing. Guard play is basically leg play. You get what I'm saying? So don't worry about if you hear all these intricate things. Guard is just legs. That's all it is. And I want to talk about, like, just briefly talk about what is the fundamental thing for developing your guard on your journey for learning. And I was thinking about this today, that's why I'm making this video. But for the guard, I would say your core strength and your flexibility. Those are the two things that I want to say of what makes a good guard player. You know, there's a bunch of other things, you know, you have to learn close guard, side control, open guard, but the one thing that you need for good guard play is a good core, like your stomach. Like, you don't have to have like abs, you know, but how do I say this? Like, there's abs, even though, like, let's say you have visceral fat, like your belly is, you know, kind of puffed out, there's still abs under your body, which you have to get stronger and flexible to be able to be a good guard passer. And then also your legs, specifically your hip mobility, you know, and your flexibility, that allows you to keep your feet in front of your opponent to have good guard retention. So if you want to develop a better guard, I would say definitely start trying to develop your core strength better, get some flexibility, and your shoulders too. I think your shoulders is very underrated, especially when you start getting into half guard and trying to stand up and, you know, switch the positions and sweep. But I'm going ahead of myself. Just understand core strength, flexibility, and just, I say overall flexibility. Don't just be like, okay, I'm gonna just go stretch out my shoulders and I'm gonna go stretch out, or, you know, just stretch your whole body out. You know, you will see there's some people who, if you watch, I would say like ADCC, or maybe there's someone in your gym who has like this unpassable guard because you bend them in certain ways, and this person just keeps folding like a lawn chair. That right there is like, that's a core thing you must have. And then we're going to go over to guard passing. I've been very, very obsessed with guard passing. It's actually guard passing that was the inspiration of this video right here. And I was trying to figure out, because what's going on is I've noticed wrestlers specifically do not like when jiu-jitsu players sit on their butt, and I always famously say it's because they don't know how to pass guard. And guard passing is actually much harder than it seems, and I was trying to figure out, like, well, why is it that wrestlers don't know how to pass guard, but they have a good like takedown game. I mean, it's really interesting if you really think about it. I know there's probably some people who are watching this and they're thinking like, no, that doesn't. I want you to really think about it. Why is it that wrestlers, when they first come into the sport, they have this good wrestling ability, but they do not, like, it doesn't translate into guard passing? It's really interesting. And that was like in my head the entire time. And since I've been studying guard passing, trying to develop a better guard, I've realized that guard passing is almost akin to striking. This is really interesting to me. I've noticed that you need to have movement, there's grip, there's angles, and there's also knowledge of jiu-jitsu. And that right there is what I would say, even though like I said earlier, guard play is what makes jiu-jitsu. I hear like an ambulance. I'm sorry. Okay, anyways, guard play, one take. Guard play makes jiu-jitsu unique. I think guard passing is also akin to that too. This is why when people try to get rid of the butt scooters, I get really angry because I'm like, you are taking away a fundamental aspect of the art. I love guard. You know, in my gym, for example, there's a bunch of guys who don't want to stand up. They don't want to pass guard. And for me, that's a treasure trove because now I get to really just study and experiment in guard passing. Now, I think I went a little bit too far. Let me just talk about the aspects of guard passing that you definitely need. And what I've noticed is movement. Specifically, I have a theory that it's jump rope. There's like foot rope. There's footwork that's required to know for guard passing. I mean, there is like pressure passing where you grab someone and hold them down. I've been doing a lot of pull-ups specifically. That helps as well. And, you know, you do need back strength for good guard passing, for good pressure to grab your opponent when you need to. But I've noticed that one thing that I've been working on is toreando passing, which is basically moving your opponent to one side, going the other way. It's very, very dynamic, you understand? And you're going against the person's legs. You have to know when to come in, when to back out. So the difference that I've realized from guard passing versus, say, wrestling, and I'm going to repeat this part in the wrestling aspect, wrestling is a lot of explosion and strength. That's why when you see wrestlers first come in, they're really like headstrong, in your face, and you can catch them with guillotines, you can catch them with triangle chokes and leg locks and stuff like that. But I've realized guard passing, you have to understand jiu-jitsu. Like, you just can't come in and think you're going to be a solid guard player and you have no knowledge of jiu-jitsu. What I've recognized for me in my journey of trying to become a guard passer, I akin the guard passing kind of like a chef or maybe a cerebral mathematician. You have to really recognize what position the person's in and the threats. And I think I forgot to say this in my guard play version, but jiu-jitsu, like the guard, ever since jiu-jitsu has added leg locks into the mix, it has really complicated the guard passing process. So I go to some of the best leg lockers in my gym and I say, hey, I'm just trying to pass your guard. Can you leg lock me in the process? Because you have to know how to pass and deal with leg locks as you pass the guard. And, you know, they're like, okay, cool, because they know that the main thing I'm trying to do is pass the guard, not submit them and, you know, put them on a highlight or whatever. But it's so, I think, like timing and knowledge in jiu-jitsu, that's a big aspect. Definitely jump rope. I've noticed striking, like Muay Thai, I've been practicing Muay Thai, it's really connected into the guard play. But I definitely must say timing. I think timing and knowledge, you have to get a lot of reps into it. And then we're going to go into the wrestling aspect. Since I would say over the past few years, maybe 2 or 3 years, the big thing has been we want to be wrestlers. You know, jiu-jitsu guys want to have better takedowns. And while that's good, I would say it does take out how do I say this? It's taken away some of the art, like guard passing, for example, because now there's like this war going on between people who butt scoot and people who like to do takedowns. And the spectators, they don't really understand guard passing. Guard passing is actually boring. I made it sound so fun. It's fun for me, but when you see it and you don't understand what's going on, it's kind of boring to watch. So you don't understand the nuances. But I would say wrestling, the biggest aspect of wrestling is it requires strength. It requires explosiveness, you understand? And I would say one thing that I've noticed, and I think maybe this is why jiu-jitsu guys, getting a little tongue-tied. I think the reason why jiu-jitsu guys suck at wrestling, specifically wrestling takedowns, because there are wrestling aspects in jiu-jitsu, such as the pinning system, and there could be a guy who sucks at takedowns, but his pins are incredible, keeping someone on the ground. I think it's the drilling. What I have noticed is wrestling, specifically jiu-jitsu wrestling, takedowns, requires an immense amount of drilling, and only I want to say maybe it's blue belts or purple belts, but anybody that's been in this sport knows that jiu-jitsu guys skip wrestling, and no. Jiu-jitsu guys skip warm-ups. They skip warm-ups. So what does that mean? They don't appreciate drilling. They're like, okay, I know there's going to be some people typing away right now saying, oh, well, I like to drill. No, think about it. I really want you to think about it. Wrestling requires drilling, and you're standing up. The whole stand-up process is very tiring at first if you're not used to it. So not only is wrestling exhausting to develop, but you have to drill it over and over and over, and it's better when you also have someone who wants to do it with you. Okay, so that's another thing. Maybe you want to do the drilling, but now you have to find someone that's going to do the drilling with you, and it's exhausting. You have to have them do it to you so you can recognize it when it's happening, and you do it to them. And that's kind of what I've learned. I think what made me appreciate drilling was Muay Thai. The whole striking journey that I've been having made me appreciate drilling more, which allowed me to go back to jiu-jitsu, and I would grab certain partners and I would drill with them wrestling takedowns. But I really honestly believe the reason why jiu-jitsu culture is like not doing well with takedowns is because a lot of these guys don't do warm-ups, and what's in warm-ups. So like, what does warm-ups entail? Drills. And I promise you, you've seen it before. Like the purple belt, he skips drills, warm-ups. Some purple belts come in. I'm one of those purple belts that come in and I don't want to do the drills that we've been working on or whatever. I want to just get to the rolling so I can do some cool stuff. But I have recognized that that's a big thing. And I think weightlifting, so strength and explosiveness, you get that from weightlifting. That's another big aspect. It's really difficult to do jiu-jitsu and weightlifting, or just difficult to do martial arts and weightlifting. But one thing that actual collegiate wrestlers get is they are used to that type of training. They're used to lifting some weights. They're used to cutting weight. You get what I'm saying? They're used to this just being uncomfortable. And jiu-jitsu is the art of finesse. So it's all about not like making something difficult easy. So I think that's a big aspect of wrestling. So just a quick recap: guard play, if you want to get good at guard, or just a better guard, like having a good attribute. That's the word, having good attributes for your guard. I would say core strength, hip mobility, really just flexibility in general. Guard passing, your knowledge of jiu-jitsu needs to be good. And I would even say you need to be good at guard play, or specifically leg locks, because when you're trying to pass guard in modern day jiu-jitsu, you're going to be dealing with leg lockers. So it's good to have a bunch of leg lockers in your gym to counter them, learn the counters, learn the positions. So I think timing, movement, like footwork and stuff, that's a big aspect. I would say jump rope. I jump a lot of rope, so that's kind of what I've noticed. And as far as the wrestling aspect, I think strength, explosiveness, lots of drills. Those are like, if it depends on what you're into, but that should be a good start. This is why wrestlers they take people down, skip to the back and stuff like that. It's a bunch of cool stuff. But what do you guys think? Tell me your style of jiu-jitsu. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Like, comment, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Take care.